You're watching On Point with me, Shweta Kothari, replacing Kartikeya Sharma for you here today. Let's get started with the top headlines we are tracking today. Fresh violence erupts in Manipur's Ukhrul district after armed groups set houses on fire. Curfew imposed. Penguin India's clarification in Naravne's Rao says book considered published only when on sale. Clarifies that pre-orders do not mean the book is published. And Treasury bench in Parliament launches new offensive against opposition as Kiran Rijiju posts another video accusing opposition women MPs of ambushing the Prime Minister, storming the well of the House. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma files a defamation case seeking 500 crore rupees in damages against Congress leader Jitendra Singh, Bhupesh Baghel and Gaurav Gogoi. Congress submits a notice of no confidence motion against Speaker of Lok Sabha Om Birla. The top story that we are tracking at this hour coming by the way of the India-US trade deal and what has come by the way of new revelations in the Bangladesh-US trade deal as well. Now, the White House has released a fact sheet on the recently signed India-US trade deal. The fact sheet claims that President Trump agreed to remove the additional 25% tariff on imports from India in recognition of India's commitment to stop purchasing Russian Federation oil. This narrative push from Washington is coming a day after India stated categorically that its oil import decisions will be guided by national interest alone. Take a look.
It is natural for the mix of sources to vary from time to time depending on objective market conditions. Our approach is to maintain multiple sources of supply and diversify them as appropriate to ensure stability. Therefore, I would say that the more diversified we are in this area, the more secure we are. Whether it is the government or indeed our business, at the end of the day, national interests will be the guiding factor for us in our choices.
And even as the contentious deal and the conversation on Russian oil continues between New Delhi and Washington, India's advantage of securing a marginal tariff edge in labor-intensive sectors seem to have effectively disappeared overnight. Bangladesh has now struck its own deal with Washington, one that could flip the competitive balance in global textiles and potentially hurt Indian exporters. Bangladesh has agreed to host of steep American demands now, as per the latest details emerging between Bangladesh and the US by the virtue of that trade deal, including a commitment to buy $3.5 billion worth of US agriculture products, $15 billion in US energy over 15 years, and even aircraft purchases. In return, Washington has offered zero reciprocal tariff on certain Bangladeshi textiles and apparel exports subject to quotas. At the same time, the US has fixed reciprocal tariffs at 19% for Bangladesh, just 1 percentage point higher than India's 18%. But that small margin is now irrelevant. Textiles are the backbone of Bangladesh's economy. The country is the second largest textile exporter in the world after China, and garments remain its single biggest foreign exchange earner. That explains the urgency. With India signing trade agreement with the US, UK and EU, Bangladesh moved quickly, especially as those deals favor labor-intensive sectors like textiles and footwear, where both the countries compete head-to-head. According to the joint statement between Bangladesh and the US, Bangladesh will now get zero tariff only if it buys more US cotton and man-made fiber inputs. The larger the US raw material import, the larger the tariff-free quota. That raises a red flag for India, currently Bangladesh's biggest supplier of cotton yarn and textile inputs as well. India believed it would expand textile exports to the US with an 18% tariff, while competitors like Bangladesh faced higher rates. Experts, however, say that this new announcement means that Bangladesh could now export garments at zero duty. reversing India's perceived advantage into a clear tariff disadvantage. Markets today reacted immediately. Textile stocks fell across the board on Tuesday, with Gokaldas exports sliding by as much as 5%, reflecting investor concerns over lost competitiveness following the US-Bangladesh agreement. Similar scenes were also witnessed across various textile exporters who are listed in Indian markets as well. Now, all of this is unfolding against worsening India-Bangladesh relations. Last year, India terminated Bangladesh's transshipment facility, and the remarks by Bangladesh's chief advisor Mohammad Yunus describing Dhaka as the guardian of the ocean for India's northeast and hinting at Chinese economic integration further strained the ties. India has spent over a decade building logistics access to the northeast through Bangladesh. Those plans have now been stalled after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina and the installation of an interim government by Mohammad Yunus. What was expected to be a narrow but crucial tariff edge for India now has diminished, and trade, especially textile trade, has become a geopolitical pressure point. Joining me on the show is Jayant Das Gupta, former Indian ambassador to WTO. Also with us is Venugopal Swamy, Congress spokesperson, Sharad Trivedi, BJP spokesperson, Bhanuchandra Nagarajan, political analyst. Thank you very much, all of you, for taking time out. Let me go to the expert first. Ambassador Jayant Das Gupta, you and I think last spoke on Saturday, where we discussed what could a US-Bangladesh tariff deal mean for India if it were to be sweeter than India. We now know for a fact that it is sweeter than India. Just 1% more tariff, but at the same time, a lot of competitive advantage when it comes to textiles.
I think we have to distinguish between textiles and clothing. Textiles mean yarn, fabrics, and made-ups. Like made-ups mean, of course, any piece of cloth which is stitched on at least one side. It could be a bed linen, it could be, pillowcase, etc. Bangladesh has an advantage in terms of producing garments, and the garments have to be produced from fabrics. Now, what the US has said, and is that if Bangladesh buys US cotton or US man-made fiber, then spins it into yarn, then converts it into fabric, then converts it further into a garment, then they will get zero duty access, subject to a TRQ. That is inherent in the language of the deal which the US has struck with Bangladesh. So it is, now there are 2-3 issues. One, India also buys cotton from the US and could perceivably also ask for a similar kind of a relaxation. The second point is Bangladesh buys a huge amount of cotton as well as cotton yarn from India. And it doesn't have to pay a heavy freight cost. If it buys cotton from the US, there would be a freight cost. And Bangladesh doesn't have the spinning capacity to convert all of its requirements of cotton yarn by using its own spinning mills. Spinning mills are energy guzzlers. Bangladesh has high tariffs on electricity and irregular supply of electricity. So it is very good on paper that Bangladesh will gain a huge amount of edge over India, but it is not actually so in reality. So Bangladesh may gain a little bit. Bangladesh exports about $8 billion worth of garments. Some of it knitted garments, some of it woven garments. Now, in terms of knitted garments, Bangladesh is not dependent very much on outside fabrics. It produces its own knitted fabric.
Right.
From yarn, which it procures from either India or other sources. As far as woven garments is concerned, Bangladesh is not very good at weaving because its weaving looms are all outdated.
Okay.
So it relies heavily on Chinese fabrics and Indian fabrics. That is the US's ploy to substitute the raw materials, either cotton or cotton yarn or fabrics, or MMF yarn or fabrics, and force Bangladesh to use them in order to get the tariff advantage. Now, one thing is there, if the freight disadvantage is there, and if despite all these disadvantages, Bangladesh decides to use a certain amount of US cotton or MMF, then it produces something.
That's
but
right.
that will have to stand the competition from other sources, including Indian garments, Vietnamese garments, Chinese garments, etc.
Okay. So your reading all in all is that because the freight cost will be far too much, India still has a competitive advantage.
No, not only the freight cost.
Right.
It is also the conversion cost from the fiber, whether it is cotton or MMF, to the yarn, and then the fabric. The fabric is the main problem.
That's right.
With the Bangladesh economy.
Okay. So would it be fair to say, sir, before I move on to other guests, that India still retains a competitive advantage?
Yes, it does. But Bangladesh has an edge in terms of the low conversion costs. So even if it doesn't buy any US cotton, but it suffers only 1% disadvantage in terms of the tariffs, 18 and 19%, its production cost, conversion cost from fabric to garment is lower than that of India.
Right. So all in all, I think that places Indian garments at par with Bangladeshi garments. So it basically means we are net competing with Bangladesh there when it comes to a deal with the US.
There's just one point which I wanted to mention.
Right.
India's exports of garments are only $16 billion and have been stagnant for the past 3-4 years. Bangladesh is exporting about $40 billion worth of goods.
Okay.
Bangladesh is the second largest garment exporter in the world.
That's right. So it depends far more on garments than India does. But let me now quickly get in Venugopal Swamy in this conversation. Venugopal Swamy, you heard the expert there saying that India still has a clear competitive advantage. So where's the problem?
Shweta Kotarji, good evening, and to the panel members. See, the Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji today driving our country not towards Vikashit Bharat, he is driving towards Vichinna Bharat by allowing agricultural produce to import. Madam, we have not seen since from the independence where US President will be revealing certain things in either in the social media or in a public platform.
That's because Trump was only made president the second time, sir, and that's the way he operates. We can't change the leader of a free world, can we?
Whatever it is, country like India, they have to respect it, which means in bilateral relations with US, India drastically lost its respect. This is what we have to understand very fundamentally. Secondly, madam, see, we have not seen anyone making a kind of statement, you buy $500 billion. What Mr. Trump is thinking, we do not know, and our Honorable Prime Minister also receiving in very well manner. It is more or less Indian budget. Today, dollar price, everybody knows. Our budget is below 55 lakh crore. $500 billion is more or less equivalent to Indian budget, what we are talking. If we are importing from one country, 500 billion, so what does it, in economically, India is going to dead on its self-sustenance parameter. This, they would not have agreed at all first.
You know, that's $500 billion over the course of 5 years. So that's $100 billion over 1 year. We're already, our trade already, we're importing about $70 billion from the US. So I'm not sure, if that number is very exorbitant or unthinkable.
It is a 50% straight away. When we are importing $70 billion, madam, we are rising towards to $100 billion. See, then we are talking an opposite way. See, if you want to make your country as a self-sufficient, do you want more imports or do you want more exports? This is the question of thought the BJP has to understand very clearly.
Okay. Let me get a reaction from the BJP as well. Mr. Trivedi, you heard what the Congress party is saying that, instead of, depending on oneself, promoting Make in India, we're making commitments to buy more from other countries. Your reaction, sir?
Well, lot of things have been said about India importing agricultural products from US.
The only thing that we have relented on is the annual feed, and the animal feed consumption in India is approximately 50 to 60 million tons, and we have only permitted import of 500,000 tons. That's the fact. Now, the other thing that my friend is talking about, importing 500 billion dollars worth of products from US, and probably will be swamped with the US agricultural products. The agricultural products that we have agreed to import from US is dried distillers grain. We have agreed to the import of pine nuts, walnuts, and such kind of products which are not of mass consumption in India. We've agreed to 1800 cc motorcycles. We have agreed on 3000 cc plus cars, which is not an item of mass consumption in India. We have stood our ground on dairy. We have stood our ground on agricultural products. And if we have to import from US, the only thing that we import, the 2000 planes that two of our largest airlines, Indigo and Tata, have agreed to, that is going to complete the entire quota of $500 billion in 5 years. So the heavens are not going to fall. And ambassador has already said the intricacies and technicality of the garment export from Bangladesh. I would like to just add one thing to it, that Bangladesh does not have transshipment facilities with it. They have to either transport it by land to India, or they have to transport it by sea to India, and from there they get the air freight from India. So we have got our own, capacity to airlift the products from India. We don't have to bother about any other country. We are a much larger country. We have got across the board, interconnections, interconnectivity, and our prices are much lower than what Bangladesh is. It is only because of the quota system that they got this access to United States. And we have got, we are not only totally dependent on US.
Would you agree that the quota system makes it more favorable for Bangladeshi garments, sir? They make Bangladeshi garment more competitive than India's?
No, initially that was the case. They had an agreement with the Korean company initially about 30 years back, because of which they got this competitive advantage, because they are the people who got in the technology, they are the people who got in the technical know-how to produce and export from Bangladesh. We came late on the scene. That is not because of our party. Now here we are talking about a huge $30 trillion economy which is opening to India. We are going to export maximum. The fuselage of the Apache helicopters are made in India. The tail section of Boeing planes are made in India. We are a very large export base for the rest of the world. China plus one, we are going to be the principal beneficiaries of the ship from China. We are the second largest exporter of mobile phones in the world, for which we have got zero tariff exemption in US. Bangladesh doesn't do anything like that.
So
Madam, it is in publicity.
If you see, with a much bigger financial muscle power, we don't need to go into fear mongering that.
As far as electronics and pharmaceutical is concerned, the fact that we've got zero duty access, that's more to do with US's decision to ensure that the prices are stable, as opposed to India's negotiations on that matter. But let me quickly take a response from the Congress party before I come to Bhanu Chandar. Yes, Mr. Venugopal.
Madam, I want to ask through you to our Trivedi spokesperson, can he tell within 12 years of the Modi ji regime, is there any major industry has come? Okay, they have made very technical, very polished English words which I don't want to speak about. Make in India, whatever, etc., etc.
Do you not like Make in India as a word, sir?
No, as that is what I wanted to ask through you. Mr. Trivedi ji, can he name one unit last 12 years in the Modi ji regime? Yes, this unit has come. Can he make it, madam? In the debate?
When Congress left office, we got from 1,000 mobile phones.
Sir, I am asking a state question.
We are the second largest
we are not making any debate.
in the world.
Can you
and we are the largest manufacturers of Apple phones in the world. So that is the kind of financial muscle that we have got, the technological know-how we have got. You had a semiconductor.
The BJP has an art.
For 40 years. They did not produce anything, and finally the department had to shut down. We are getting 3 internationally reputed aircraft manufacturers to do the manufacturing in India. We are getting the Airbus C295 to be manufactured in India. We are getting Embraer planes being manufactured in India. We are getting the Russians to manufacture their, the regional airliners in India.
Okay.
Triveji, you are getting it. Are you
We are not
manufacturing
in
it
that
today?
state of, we should get
Are you,
out
are
of
you
this,
manufacturing as on
the
date
world
as
is
we are
going to
All
talking?
right.
eat us up.
I think we can. I think with this back and forth can go on for a very long time. But let me quickly take a question from Bhanuchandar, who's been also waiting very patiently. Bhanuchandar, I think one of the issues on which I find government on the back foot today is Russian oil. Have we made a commitment to not purchase? Because White House is saying continuously, one press release after the other, that India has made a commitment to not purchase Russian oil. We are telling our people that we have made no such commitment. So where is the gap in communication?
See, with regard to Russian oil, we actually went against the grain during the Biden administration, and we said that we are going to purchase Russian oil, irrespective of whatever you say, because that is good for our country, and also like it ended up subsidizing the costs for all of the world, right? But when it comes to the current deal, there are two things that we have to take in mind. One is Nayara Energy, which has Rosneft having around like 49.5% stake, is a major player. So it is bound to buy Russian oil. So we do not know how that is going to pan out. That's number one. Number two is we also have to look at the deal in toto. Okay, it's not just the trade deal, the itemized things that we are just talking about here. We have to include access to critical minerals, which will come later, like access to semiconductors, security. So many issues are there, right? The trade deal is just only one part. So, and also like we have to realize that what we have right now is just the framework. The final deal is not done. The negotiations are at an advanced stage. That's what the framework actually that tells us. Okay, so there's still going to be a lot of going back and forth, and the final word on Russian oil is still not out yet.
All right. I think there are a lot of issues here which are untouched yet, and Bhanuchandra, I agree with you, but perhaps by the way of a detailed trade agreement, we'll get more clarity on the other issues which haven't been touched on. But, as far as Russian oil is concerned, the reason I'm pushing you, and let me also take that question, from Sharad Trivedi ji. Trivedi ji, the fact of the matter is, India has reiterated again and again that we are a sovereign nation and we will decide our energy policy, and we will not let a big country dictate us on where we should purchase oil from and where we should purchase our energy needs from. Fact of the matter is, you have, the US president saying this again and again through press releases. You have the White House putting it out on a fact sheet. You have the president who's tweeting about it, that we have made a commitment to the US. Have we made a commitment to the US? I understand the need to diversify supply chains. I understand what Bhanuchandra Nagarajan is saying, and I completely agree with that. When Russian oil was discounted, it made more sense. And today, if we can find cheaper oil, that's better for the country. But have we made a commitment to Russia that we will stop purchasing, or to the US that we'll stop purchasing Russian oil?
Well, my foreign minister and my foreign secretary has said that it is going to be an Indian sovereign decision based on Indian sovereign national interest.
So President Trump is lying.
To get the best deal from wherever it is possible. US offering better deal, we are going to buy it from US.
Okay, but so they're lying when they're saying
it's a better deal,
right,
for which we have got refining capacity. We are going to get it from Venezuela.
Okay, are they lying? Is the US president lying when he's saying that we have committed? Because someone is not telling the truth.
No, I believe in what my foreign minister and my foreign secretary is saying. If the opposition wants to believe in US president, well, they are free to do that. But Indian government's decision is that it is going to be our sovereign national interest on the basis of which this oil purchase decision is going to be taken from wherever it will be. We get a better
I am
deal,
asking very simple question, madam. Is it not the responsibility of the Honorable Prime Minister to give reply on this to the nation? When we are a 140 crore population, 1.4 billion population we are there. There is a lot of confusion in the minds of the people. Is there no responsibility on the Honorable Prime Minister to give the clarity on this? Did he give that?
No, ask Yuva Neta to ask the question in the parliament. He is going to be answered in the parliament. When the foreign minister says something that you don't say it on affidavits, it means it's a government decision. When the foreign secretary
what did our foreign minister claimed?
Everything is not to be said in the parliament. He is not making any commitment. He is only saying that it is going to be the decision of India on the basis of Indian national interest.
And
Wherever
as it
we
should
get
be.
a
It is
better
a
deal, we'll go
diplomatic,
there.
it
As
is a
it should be.
diplomatic answer you are
No,
making.
as it should be. It should be India's decision. It should not be dictated by foreign forces. My question still remains, and hasn't been answered yet, that whether we made a commitment, because that's what the US is saying. It's saying it repeatedly. And that is, the people of this country need some clarity on whether we made a commitment or did not make a commitment. Bhanuchandra Nagarajan, yes.
See, the thing is, India will make a decision that is in the best interest of ourselves, right? That we have seen over the last many years. Number one. Number two, the Prime Minister is not obligated to give a running commentary on the negotiation. So what Trump is trying to, you may say that Trump is lying, but Trump is continuously negotiating because, as I said, the final word, the signature is not put on the deal. So Trump is continuously negotiating. We will actually play by our strength.
Actually,
For example, when
he's
Trump
saying
said-
this.
when Trump-
He's actually tweeting. Bhanuchandra, I think I'm going to disagree with you there. He is saying it very categorically that India has made a commitment, and that's the reason why I'm lifting the 25% additional tariff. He's saying it on record. It's not a running commentary. It's not another clause in the deal. It is an important part of that 50% tariff.
No. So again, going back to my previous comment, you see, Naira Energy was made specifically for actually processing Russian oil. Okay, Rosneft has 49.5% stake in it. So the final word on Russian oil is still not done yet. See, Trump has said that, but I still think it is as a part of a negotiation tactic. The final word will come out later. We will actually, the Prime Minister has to make a comment on this. And also another thing is, during trade negotiations, it need not go through Parliament, right? This is an executive decision. So I think we should respect that. And obviously, at the end of very close to the deal, or at the signing of the deal, the Prime Minister is obligated to, or the Commerce Minister is obligated to explain to the people of India why such a thing has been done.
Okay, and perhaps
Madam,
clarification
I want
much
to ask
needed.
one question to Nagarajan ji. Is there any time in the previous regime, did negotiations happen on the social media or public statements? How does the bilateral...
That's the decision of the... I'm sorry, but let me answer that. That's Donald Trump's decision, sir. I don't think that... We didn't do it. You did not hear of an agreement from India's side. You heard of an agreement from US's side.
That is what, madam, being...
He's done so with every country.
Swamiji, I'll ask one counter question to Swamiji. Swamiji, had there been social media in 2007, 2008, I'm sure there will be back and forth on the Indo-US nuclear deal. Okay, even without social media, they were actually going back and forth. So let's not get into this. Okay, this is a very
there was always press, electronic media, print media. You see, social media is one kind of media.
Exactly. So the electronic media at that time made comments.
All right. Gentlemen, I think we can go on and on. I think fact of the matter is we need more clarification on Russian oil, and for Donald Trump to do what he wants, I don't think you and I have any control on that, Venugopal Swamiji. We can't do much about what he wants to do. I mean, that's the way he's announced trade deals with other countries as well. So India, no exception there. That's the way he operates, and for the better or worse, we can't change the way he deals. So we can't change the way he deals. Unfortunately, sir, I've completely run out of time on the show. Thank you very much, Ambassador Jayan Das Gupta, Venugopal Swami, Sharat Tiwari, as well as Bhanuchandra Nagarajan, for taking time out for joining us on the show this evening. And for the next story, we are focusing on what's coming by the way of major revelations in Bangladesh's elections. As elections near on 12th of February and Bangladesh go to its polls, choosing its representatives for the 13th parliamentary elections. More clarity emerging by the way of various permutations, combinations that agencies are making as to who's going to win Bangladesh elections. Now, Bangladesh is heading into one of the most consequential elections in its history amid political upheaval, economic strain and growing security concerns. Just days before polling, another Hindu man has now been lynched in Bangladesh. On the evening of 9th of February, 62-year-old Suzen Chandra Sarkar, a Hindu rice merchant, was brutally attacked, killed by unknown assailants. The attackers also looted several 100,000 takas from his shop, raising fresh concerns over minority safety ahead of that crucial vote. Despite these incidents, election authorities insist that the situation is under control. Bangladesh Election Commission says that voting will begin at 7:30 on 12th of February and that the Commission's assessment As per the assessment, there are no major security hazards and preparations are now complete. This election marks a sharp break from Bangladesh's recent past. Over the last 15 years, under Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, the country experienced political continuity and economic expansion, even as opposition parties largely boycotted elections. That era ended with Hasina's ouster in 2024 following a coup, and her party, the Awami League, has now been barred from contesting elections. Supporters of the transition are calling this Bangladesh's first genuinely competitive elections in years. But critics argue that excluding one of the country's largest political forces raises serious questions about representation and legitimacy. The Bangladesh Nationalist Party, led by Tariq Rahman, is expected to perform strongly. In fact, in a televised address, Tariq Rahman expressed regret over past mistakes, offered an apology to voters, and pledged to restore the rule of law, curb corruption, and make the next government more accountable. Alongside BNP, Jamaat-e-Islami-led alliance has also emerged as a major contender. A newly radical, youth-driven party has now aligned with Islamist bloc after failing to build an independent electoral base. Pre-poll surveys, however, are sending mixed signals. One major survey predicts a BNP landslide, another shows a near dead heat between BNP and Jamaat, while a third projects yet another BNP sweep.